So I actually got back into my trailer for injury extra time, and the first goal I actually saw live was theirs when they went 5-4 up with the deflection off Gregory. So that was the actual first goal I'd seen in real time.
Hello and welcome to the latest edition of All Wednesday. This week we've got a special guest who of stage and screen, Tommy Craig. Tommy, how you doing, mate?
How you doing, Joe? You all right, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. You're back on English soil, aren't you? Came back for not came back for the games, but you've managed to get to a few games recently. It's been a bit of a mixed bag, hasn't it?
Yeah, I was away last year from late May to late December, so I got home 22nd of December. I think I saw one game just before Christmas, or maybe I didn't. I don't know. Yeah, I only saw a couple of games prior to Christmas this season when I was back home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've not seen many. But I saw us away at QPR, and I saw us. Yeah, seen a couple of wins.
Yeah, which is all that really matters. It's been a over the course of the season. It has been, as I said mixed bag before. That's been sort of a summary of Wednesday's season this year, hasn't it? It has been a lot of really really good results and some pretty disappointing ones as well.
Well, it's every time we've got within spitting distance of the playoffs, we've played a home game and we've failed, like either drawn or lost. And I was there New Year's Day when we beat Derby 4-2. But it's just like we just can't get over the line to get in that top six. And I don't think we're out of it at the minute. We've got 8 games left, 24 points to play for. You know, I think Wilder was he was a bit previous saying that our season's finished at the weekend, but you know, he's Chris Wilder, isn't he? So. What do I
with
know?
with the derby, what were your thoughts on it? It was a it started really well for Wednesday, didn't it? And then it kind of petered out, unfortunately, as we've seen happen with Wednesday a lot over the course of the season.
Yeah, I didn't think it petered out as early as it has in previous games. You know,
Mm.
the game against Derby, I think, on New Year's Day, we were all over them for 20 minutes, and their keeper did this new kind of thing where the keeper goes down and the team get a team talk from the manager. I don't think
Yeah.
United did that at the weekend, but I thought it was pretty even for an hour, and that we were perhaps shading it for an hour, and then we
Yeah.
just went to sleep. But it was just ironic that Max Lowe's never been injured for us and got injured in that game when United
Had
fans were saying,
yeah,
"Oh, he's always injured," when we signed him, you know.
yeah. I felt so sorry for him because you just think like, why now? Like of all the games to
Of
get
all the
injured in,
games, I know.
like,
Yeah, I know.
yeah, had to be that one. But you have a strong history with this football club, don't you? I wanted to chat about your I suppose your way of strong arming Wednesday into different scenarios you've been in with work, because there's been a couple of times that on the shows you've been on where you've maybe snuck a badge in and things like that.
More than a badge. Years ago, I did the very last season of Soldier Soldier, and the art department asked me how I wanted my locker to be decorated in, because we were in a barracks. And I told them, and then I turned up on set, and it was all Sheffield United stuff, and I was like, I can't have this, I can't have this. You know what I mean? So they redid it, and there was. I always remember every time I did a scene in my locker, there was a picture of Des Walker by me, which was quite funny. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
no,
yeah, I always wore stuff in that Soldier Soldier, and then I did a Ken Loach film where I just had a woolly hat with an owl on, and then Coronation Street. I managed to get with the Wednesday in that because the local actors, the Manx, they were not allowed to talk about City or United in them days because City were rubbish and they didn't want to alienate any of the Mancunians. So they were
yeah, yeah,
all the locals were surprised when I managed to get Wednesday in mentioned quite as much as I did.
yeah. Am I right in saying you were like buried with a Wednesday, like the murder weapon was wrapped in a
Yeah,
Wednesday shirt or something?
the murder, a spanner, a plastic
Yeah,
spanner,
that
as it
was
was,
it.
not a
Yeah,
metal spanner. It was wrapped in a Wednesday shirt and put in my coffin. Yeah.
yeah, love that. And then there was one more that I remember. Was it on the wireless on your show in Canada where you had the Wednesday results coming in or something like that? Or you were listening to a game?
Yeah, in the Murdoch Mysteries that I do in Canada, we go up each year. Like we started in 1895, and each season, the year. So we're up to 1913 this year when we go back to film. So when we got to 1903, which was I think season 8 or 9, I talked the producer into getting a reference to Wednesday winning the league. And he must
Nice.
have researched it, and he got more than a reference in it. It was like a B plot in the story. It was hilarious, you know what I mean?
No, that's excellent. I mean, it's nice that you're able to do that, you know, like, just stick that little bit of your own personal passions into
Yeah.
the shows that you're doing.
I
Um,
I did a Channel 4 film many years ago in the early 90s, that starred Kevin Waitley from, what do you call it? The Builders, Auf Wiedersehen Pet.
oh,
And
yeah.
I was playing a bit of a loser and a single dad, and I did it in a Sheffield United shirt. And everybody's on
Nice.
set like, "I thought you was a Wednesday fan." So I says, "You're missing the point." So that's the
No,
only time I've worn a red and white shirt, when I did this Channel 4 drama playing a loser.
that's the sort of petty that I can get behind. I like that. Um, you've had sort of run-ins because obviously you were around for the glory days of Wednesday, you know, the 90s and that group of players. And am I right in saying that you had a few different run-ins with, you know, people like Des Walker, Chris Waddle, those guys?
Yeah, I've got a really good pal who's upstairs at the minute. He's doing a play and he's staying with me while he rehearses. He's a Leeds fan. And we
Right.
went up to a game back in the early, like mid 90s, 94. And I think it was 3-3 at Hillsborough. It was a great game. And we went out downtown after, and we ended up in Josephine's, as you do back in the 90s. And I said to John, I said, "I bet some Wednesday players coming here tonight." And as I said it, Gordon Watson and Chris Waddle walked in the bar. And my mate, we were drunk by then, and John said, "I'll talk to him." I said, "Don't talk to him, don't talk to him." Anyway, John went over, and next minute, Chris Waddle's calling me over. Talking about you, mate. Chris Waddle calls me over, and he says, "My kids love the advert," because I'd been doing an advert for washing powder at the time.
Mm.
So anyway, we got chatting, and the next week, for some reason, Wednesday were playing a friendly at Enfield away in midweek. It was like early on in the season. So Chris invited me to go to Enfield, and I live in southwest London. I'd never really been to Enfield before, which is
Mm.
northeast London. And anyway, I went to see the game, and then afterwards they said, "Do you want to come to Charlie Chan's nightclub, which was underneath Walthamstow Docks?" And I'm like, "I don't even know where that is, but I'll come." You know what I mean? And I looked round,
You're
and there
not
was only
turning down
me.
an invite for Chris Waddle, are
Eh?
you? You're not
No,
turning
no,
down
no,
Chris
no.
Waddle?
No, so the Wednesday players had to stay for a meal, but they were all itching to get away. And by the time they ordered cabs, I looked round and there was only me and Des Walker in jeans. Everybody else was suited and booted. And it was that era when nightclubs were a bit funny about what you wore. So
Mm.
I looked and I thought, if I get turned away from this club, I've got to be in a cab with Des Walker, because if they turn me away, they've got to turn Des away. And I'm sure they're not going to turn him away. And by now, there was a few Spurs players with it: Paul Walsh, Jason Dozell. There was a big group. We
Mm.
get to the club and the bouncer won't let us in. He says, "No, you can't come in here in jeans." And Des Walker, you don't hear him talk very often, but he's really chatty. And he don't, once he starts, he don't shut up. This bouncer weren't having it. He's like, "No, you're not coming in, you're not coming in. I don't care who you are." Anyway, a lady walks out of the bar and she went, "Des Walker." And she went, "You know who he is?" He went, "I don't care who he is, you know what I mean?"
Mhm.
So she took us round the corner to her house on a little back street, and she got us a pair of trousers each from her husband. And her husband was in bed. He was asleep, and she put the light on. And he went, "Des Walker." So we went back to the club and we got in. So that's my Des Walker story.
I
And
mean, that's not
whenever I used to bump into Des, he was always like, "Remember that club in Walthamstow?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course I do." You know what I mean?
superb. No, that's
So
great,
I
that.
imagine this guy went to work the next day saying, "You'll never believe who was in my bedroom last night. Tommy Craig."
And I bet no one did believe him either.
No.
That we'll touch on that generation a little bit because they were special, weren't they? That was a special group of footballers.
What's funny for me, that period, like early 90s to mid 90s, I was just left drama school and I didn't have a lot of money. So I was playing football Saturdays and Sundays in London. So I didn't see a lot of them at that period. I saw them
Mm.
when they were in London, but I didn't travel to Sheffield like I do now, because I
Yeah,
really couldn't afford it at the time and I was playing. So
yeah.
the best team we had is the least team I've seen, really.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. But did you what was your sort of, I suppose, your origin story with Wednesday? Who were the, when you first really got into it, like, who were the players that you looked up to and that you sort of were your first
John, say
heroes in
goodbye to Al's talk. Al's
All right. Up the old.
John, the Leeds fan. See you later, see you later, mate. I was asking a question the other, see if you can get this, Joe. In that period, I started going late 60s, but in the early mid 70s, Wednesday had 4 goalkeepers all with the first name of Peter.
Was Spring it one of them?
Springer,
Yeah, it's a bit before my time, Tommy.
Peter Springer, Peter,
I'm a
Peter
90s kid.
Springer, Peter Grummett, Peter Fox, and Peter Wicks. They seem to be the 4 rotating keepers in the early mid-70s.
It's
So I
interesting
thought
that
every
all.
goalkeeper was called Peter.
Yeah, that's just every goalkeeper in the world is just that you have to be called Peter to play there.
Yeah, yeah.
But because you said you played, what position were you? Did you play, like, were you a keeper?
No, I started off in kind of like midfield and finished at centre half or left back.
Ah, fair enough.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm as quick now as I was at 18.
so who were your heroes though? You know, when you were, because for me, I like I said, early 90s was when I started getting into Wednesday, and it was sort of late 90s when I was really into it. So it was like
Yeah.
your DiCaprios and Carbonis and stuff like that for me. Like, who were your early heroes in a Wednesday shirt?
I guess my first ones were Tommy Craig and Willie Henderson.
Yeah, hence the name.
And yeah, and then just hence the name. And then a little bit later, I suppose Terry Curran. I've always liked
Yeah,
a winger. I've always liked a
yeah,
winger. But Willie Henderson and Tommy Craig, when I was just starting to watch Wednesday and getting really interested, they were the players.
yeah. Because I mean, you do have that. I think wingers are a position where that they do get people on their feet, they get people off the seats, and you know they're
Yeah.
the ones that you're going, oh, there's something a little bit special. My dad tells me about some of the players that he grew up watching Wednesday, and his are the same. Like, his favorite players are always the wide men that were, you know, bursting past people and things like that. Hello, welcome back to part 2 of this week's All Wednesday with Tommy Craig of Coronation Street and Murdoch Mysteries and all sorts. Tommy, your Wednesday, I suppose your Wednesday story, it's been going a while, hasn't it? Like, what was it like for you on those away days? You know, when you're first starting to, you know, you're allowed out the house and you're allowed to go to the games on your own and that kind of thing. What was it like back then?
Well, my first official Wednesday away game was Bramall Lane in 1970-71, and we lost 3-2. So that was my first away game. But leaving
The 70s
Sheffield,
weren't much fun, were they?
no, the 70s were terrible. The 70s were awful. But it was good fun when I got a bit older, because I was only like at the beginning of the 70s, I was about 9 years old. So by the end of the 70s, I was 19 years
Mm,
old. So it was a whole different spectrum for me. But my
yeah.
first proper away game with my dad and my cousin was at Villa Park, the second replay against Crystal Palace in the FA Cup, and we won 3-2. And that's the night I was hooked on away games,
Yeah.
because Wednesday had the whole 10, and the atmosphere was unbelievable. Brian Joyce got a hat-trick, and that was my first ever proper away game. And then in about 77, 78, my dad, I was 14, I had my first away game without my dad. I went on a coach and went to Swindon, and we lost 3-0. But great times, great, like crazy, but great
There
times.
look, it's great getting Hillsborough with 34,000 there and all that kind of stuff, but there's something about away games, isn't there? That, you know, being in an away end with, you know, a small group of really avid Wednesday fans, that it's like, I did Pompey away this season. It's the first time I've done an away game in the stands, because obviously we're in the press box usually. It's the
Yeah.
first time I've done an away game in the stands for years, and it's ace, man. Like, it's really like, it's, you just feel this real sense of like togetherness and camaraderie, don't you?
Well, every football fan knows if you go and watch away games regular, the atmosphere is better. I mean,
Mm,
you watch any game and it's only the away fans you hear singing till the home team
yeah,
score, really. I mean, what was
yeah,
great about Hillsborough on Saturday was the first 20 minutes, the whole Hillsborough was like buzzing and rocking, which is very rare.
mm,
Uh, but no, everybody's like-minded. Everybody's avid. You know what I mean? A lot of people never miss a game. You know,
yeah,
and I've seen faces. I see people. I don't know their real names. I don't know what jobs they do. I don't know what they do in their life. But every away game, I see them, and it's like
yeah,
they're pals, but you don't really know who they are. And I don't really want to
yeah.
know. Do you know what I mean? I just enjoy
Mm.
seeing them. at particular times in my life.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Was it a big family thing for you then? Was Wednesday something that you say with your dad and your brother and that kind of thing? Was it something that you always did together?
Yeah, I don't have a brother, by the way, but
Sorry,
I'm an only child.
sorry.
No, yeah, my dad actually grew up round Bramall Lane. He grew up on Abbeydale Road, but he was a Wednesday fan. So
Right.
he used to take me, like, I remember, like, it must have been 67, 68, first season I went to games.
Mhm.
First two games I remember were both 1-1 at Hillsborough. We drew with West Ham at 1-1 and then Liverpool 1-1. So I was a bit like, every game's 1-1, is it? You know, when you're small, you just. But I remember
Yeah,
going to reserve games and running up and down the seats, rattling the chairs. You know,
yeah,
every Wednesday fan of that era did that kind of thing. You know.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I wanted to ask about your because you've travelled a fair bit. What one there was one story that you've told well, you didn't tell me before, you wrote it down for me after the Peterborough game, because you were away, weren't you, for that one? You weren't able to be at it, but you were you vicariously lived it in other ways.
In other ways, no, that season you just thought we were going to finish at least top two or champions, and I've never seen Wednesday win a league in all my lifetime. I think the 50s, sometime the last time we won
Mm,
one. So I'd agreed to go on my mate's stag do to Corfu, thinking we'll have got promoted. It won't matter, and then we end up in the playoffs. So I saw the first leg in Corfu in a bar with some Colchester fans, and everybody went easy on me. I think I was so disappointed, and I never slept that night. It was awful. I couldn't believe it. And then I got back from Corfu, and I was literally on a plane the next day to Canada to go and film Murdoch Mysteries. So I saw the second leg. I was actually filming and didn't see any of the game, and I was listening kind of on the radio. And that when we made it 4-4, one of the lads on the set, he had a radio, and he just looked at me and he went, "It's 4." And I went nuts, and we were still filming, and I just went crackers. And I was actually filming with the guy who plays Murdoch, the lead guy, and he's looking at me and he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I don't care, man. We just equalised." So I actually got back into my trailer for injury extra time, and the first goal I actually saw live was theirs when they
yeah,
went five
right,
four up with the deflection off Gregory. So that was the
yeah,
actual first goal I'd seen in real time. So and then I missed penalties. I was back on set, and I was glad I missed penalties. But
yeah.
what a feeling! And then I saw the Wembley game in a pub in Toronto at 10 a.m. in the morning with about 6 disparate Wednesday fans who I didn't know, and it was great.
It was, as ends of the season go, it's about as good as it gets, that, isn't it? Like,
Yeah,
the drama of it all,
stressful.
and it was crazy.
Stressful. I mean, I've seen a lot of big Wednesday games and I've missed a lot, but to be at Hillsborough that night when we come back from 4-0, I mean, that must have been amazing. I was amazed the fact that we sold it out still. Everybody turned up with the tickets, even though we were 4-0 down. Amazing
Yeah,
support. Yeah.
yeah. It's one of those nights that I will never get tired of talking about. Like,
Yeah,
it
and
was
another night I had in Toronto was when we beat Arsenal 3-0. We
oh,
were filming. We
in the
were
League
in
Cup.
the when Carlos was manager. We
Yeah.
were filming in the middle of a field in the middle of nowhere, and the only place that had Wi-Fi was the makeup wagon. So I was FaceTiming my boy who was watching the TV, and we actually scored the first goal while I was in the makeup wagon, and he was showing me the TV, and we actually scored, and I was bouncing around the makeup wagon in the middle of nowhere. Yeah,
Yeah, no, I was
strange
watching
what
that
you get up to.
yeah, I was watching that game on TV in South Africa with a
Oh,
friend of
would you?
mine who's an Arsenal fan, so that was great 'cause, yeah, he wasn't best pleased that night. You mentioned, off air that you were watching watching a game with that friend of yours who's a Leeds fan over in Nairobi in Kenya. It's nice that that's, possible, isn't it?
We didn't watch this game actually. We were
Oh, sorry, it
traveling.
wasn't you actually watching the game. Got ya.
No, yeah, we spent most of Christmas in Nairobi, and we were traveling down to Mombasa on the overnight train because his dad was an accountant at a hotel, so he got us a few days on the coast. And at that, I'd worked in Africa before. I'd been to Zimbabwe, and every African lad you met was a Man United fan at that point. Every African was Man United, Man United. It was
Mm,
before the Premier League had really took off and Chelsea and everybody.
yeah, yeah.
So we were travelling to Mombasa, and we arrived at 7 a.m. in the morning, the day after Wednesday had played Leeds at Hillsborough. And we didn't have a clue of the score because no mobile phones. And we were checking into the hotel the Sunday morning at 7:30, And I just said to the guy behind the jump, I said, "You don't happen to know any English football results, do you?" And he just went, "My team beat Leeds United 6-2." And me and my mate John have looked at one another. We've looked at him and goes, "Who's your team?" And he went, "Sheffield Wednesday." The only African supporting Sheffield Wednesday on the continent.
Unbelievable. Tell you, massive, massive football club, mate.
I know. So I had a shirt and I give him a shirt. I said, "Oh, you got to have my shirt, mate." You know what I mean?
Love that. No, that's
So
it's weird, isn't it, with Wednesday, because considering the lack of success that we've had for so long, they're bloody everywhere. Like, you go, the amount of places that you go and you bump into someone and they happen to be a Wednesday fan, or they've got some memory of Hillsborough or a Wednesday game that they remember. That, like I say, for a club that has had such limited success, I mean, especially in my lifetime,
8 trophies in 150 odd years.
yeah, like, we get about, don't we? Like, Wednesday fans are all over the place.
Yeah, it's bizarre. I remember flying to Toronto the day before Sheffield United played Huddersfield in the playoff final, and I went to this football bar in Toronto called God, I can't remember what it's called. But anyway, thinking there'll be a few United fans or Huddersfield fans in there. There was 4 of us, all Wednesday fans, all wanting Huddersfield to win. Do you know what I mean? It's like, where's the United fans in Toronto? Where's the Huddersfield fans in Toronto?
Yeah.
There was just 4 of us, Wednesday fans, watching this game. And when he stuck the penalty over the bar, Simonson, we went crackers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's with Murdoch Mysteries. Are you approaching any other decent Wednesday milestones that you can squeeze in there? There must be some coming up soon, because early 1900s weren't bad.
Yeah, I think they mentioned it in 1907 when we won the FA Cup. I got that. I got a mention for that. But I think it's 1913 this year. So I think maybe Barnsley won the cup somewhere around then, 1912 or 1913. They got their one trophy.
I might be wrong, but I think something might have happened 1915. So if you've got a couple more seasons in you, you might have something to do there.
Sheffield United won the cup then, didn't they?
The cup, maybe. I'm sure some. Yeah, I might be wrong.
I think that was known as the Khaki Cup final because they were all soldiers at the game. I'm sure United won the
Oh,
cup.
right, okay.
1915.
Interesting. I didn't know
We
that.
won't mention that.
No, we don't want to talk about that. But what was it? Just before we do wrap up, what was it like being back for a derby? Because obviously the result wasn't as we hoped, but there's a real nice buzz about the city, isn't there? When that game's on. It's been a
Well,
while.
I don't know if it was a nice buzz, but there was a buzz at Hillsborough Corner. But I'd been to Everton West Ham the day before with 2 West Ham mates because I wanted to go to Goodison for the last time. So I brought them to Hillsborough after, and they thought it was amazing. And they'd never seen Wednesday lose. They'd both been at the Hartlepool game at Cardiff, and they'd both been at Leeds just before COVID when we won 2-0. So I were hoping they were going to make it third time lucky, but not to be.
Now they've just joined the long list of people that have watched Sheffield Wednesday lose, and
my last derby before that was when Chris O'Grady scored and we won 1-0.
Oh, so you're hoping you could have been the talisman as well. My last one before this season was the Marcus Tudgay rocket, because obviously I was gone for a long time, so I was hoping that I was going to come back and we were going to have that sort of those sort of scenes again, but it unfortunately wasn't.
Yeah.
Tommy, thank you so much for your time, man. It's really, really great to speak to you, and all the best with the show. And hopefully we'll see a few more Wednesday references in there going forward.
Thanks very much, Joe. Take care, mate. See you later.